we're gonna come back later, right? Okay, all right. So I'm gonna make you co-host anyway. So we have that. All right. So can we use the audio inside of Zoom?
To talk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, because I need to make a phone call.
Okay, no problem.
All right, good.
I have a question. Is the host here?
Yes, the host is right
Yeah.
here. Yes.
Now, is this some kind of religious affiliation?
It's always about religious, ma'am. It's only because that's where nature comes from.
No, I mean, what religion is this affiliated with?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and this program is sponsored by the All Nations Fellowship Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Okay, that's not for me. Thank you. I wish you all a
Oh,
pleasant evening.
God bless you too. Sure, no problem.
Mike, you can turn on your camera and that stuff.
Okay. Okay, so good evening, folks. Let me get my camera set up here. And we're working at a interesting disadvantage only because my main big computer decided not to work today. So we're okay. Here we go. I think I got that. Very good. So here we are. Good evening. Good evening. Just like to welcome everyone. My name is Michael Dale Campbell, and we are excited to have all of our guests here today. I'm going to ask our technician here to lead us into our beginning video. So that will introduce the program, and then I'll come right back with a little bit more detail.
Oh, sorry.
We are natural health enthusiasts with yet another delicious recipe of best practices and holistic lifestyle health. Our natural health planners, sponsors, presenters, and friends compile and share the simplest, most natural discoveries and practices targeted to restoring and maintaining energy, as well as a sense of well being that we all want in our daily lives. It has been said that health is a state of complete harmony of the body, mind, and spirit. Therefore, through the practice of the 8 laws of natural health, integrated with evidence based research, we see a world empowered by Christ's love that is passionately seeking to be its healthiest in body, mind, and soul. And that's why we're so glad you've chosen to be here. Join us each month to help us celebrate the Creator for the resources and knowledge that consistently optimize His gift of natural healing in our bodies. We thank our hosts at the All Nations Fellowship Seventh-day Adventist Church in partnership with Community Outreach Incorporated for providing this one-of-a-kind opportunity that helps us all live healthier tomorrow than we are today, every single day. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's your Natural Health Meetup presenting team for this life-enhancing edition.
Welcome here, and I'd like to let you know that it is really a pleasure. We have a number of new people that have joined us this evening from the country of Panama. A couple of us were down there for a few days, and we had a wonderful time sharing health principles that are biblically based and are completely natural. And we would like to welcome them here tonight. It's quite a pleasure that we are able to have them join us and to continue teaching and training people in their communities there in the country of Panama. I have going to share my screen for just a moment to be sure that we are able to share some important information. This is Natural Health Enthusiasts. It's an outreach ministry sponsored by the All Nations Fellowship Seventh-day Adventist Church. We are also part of the community outreach department of that church. And for that reason, it is an outreach ministry to be sure that we all can be healthier tomorrow than we are today, every single day. Let's go to our next slide here, if I can. So we're having some real serious technical issues again. And okay, wow, I am losing. Okay, I'm not sure, Dr. Rick. This is one of those days, isn't it? Let's see here. Zoom. And okay. I take it that I am still connected. Oh, here we go. I think I know how to fix this. Okay, I think I'm there now. I'm going to try sharing my screen once again. And let's see. Wow. A little bit longer here. Okay, now. Are you guys able to see my screen yet? Let's see. All right, so if my screen won't share, I'm going to just share the information with you. This is a monthly ministry. We have, this is our 9th year of providing this to our communities, and we're very proud of the fact that many people are finding that lifestyle is a key factor in optimizing health. And so we meet every single week, planning programs, planning the topics. We would like to hear from you. If you have specific topics that you would like to hear us discuss or present on, please be sure to let us know about that. And also to let you know that these programs, even though we are discussing concerns of health, one of the main things that we want you to know is that we are not giving you any medical advice here. This is purely informational. It is designed to provide you with information. You may do your own research. You may also consult with your own physician. You may also seek the help of any licensed health medical provider in your community so that you can get the proper care for the health concerns that you have. I would also like to mention, and you're not seeing this, but for those of you who are aware, there are a number of places around the world that are called the blue zones. There are 5 of them. There is Okinawa, Japan. There's Icaria, Greece. There's Sardinia, Italy. There's Nicoya, Costa Rica. There's Loma Linda, California. These 5 places are noted in the world community for long life and healthy living. People live well into their hundreds, and the only place that is in North America is Loma Linda, California. And that is a part of the Adventist community. It is a place where healthy lifestyles are also part of the North American uh, modern trends with all the technology and the high paced living. And in spite of that, people are living to be healthy. We are going to encourage you today to become a part of a virtual blue zone where we're not located by geography, but we're located as part of a community where we come together. And when we come together, we get a chance to share with each other the health victories that we have been able to accomplish just by living a lifestyle that is healthy, that is intentional, and in many cases, we'll be able to share with you. It can also be quite biblical as we take a close look at what the Bible teaches regarding our health. And so today, the topic is about food combination. There are some myths out there about food combination, culture, and custom, and the palate, our preference for taste. Many times it leads us in the wrong direction. And so tonight we're going to be able to share with you some of those items that are really important regarding that. And the actual topic tonight is unlock your body's full health potential. There are smart food combinations that heal, and almost no one else is talking about them. And so we're happy tonight that you're here to join us in this conversation. And so I am going to flip back here, and I'd like us to close our eyes for just a brief moment as we open this with a word of prayer. Dear God, we are so thrilled tonight that you have brought us here together. We are here to learn, we're here to share, we're here to experience something that's really important, Lord. It's about our health. If we are not healthy, there is not much else that we can do in this life. If we are weak, our minds are not alert, our bodies are struggling, it is very difficult for us to do much at all in this life. Please help us, Lord, to give you the praise, the honor, and the glory for every healthy moment that we have. And may we learn just the right tips tonight, the right angles, the right foods that will help us to optimize our health, not just for our own purposes, but just in order that we may glorify your name. And this we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So we want to thank you again for coming out. We have a tremendous opportunity tonight to hear from a we have a team here that's going to be helping us with our presentation tonight. And so please allow me to pass the hat on to Dr. Danny Frederick. Dr. Danny? Hang on. Let me make you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now you can hear me. I've been unmuted.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm so glad that you guys are here this evening for another, as Michael would say, appetizing experience for this seminar. Again, Dr. Darren Frederick is my name, and I'm oftentimes the one that's trying to help with the flow of information and just try to simplify some things in our understanding. This evening, I want to welcome you to, and I term this your friendly auto repair segment. Huh. Your friendly auto repair segment. What am I talking about? What are we going to talk about? Well, this is where you learn about cars. In a unique way, cars is not our focus, friends. Health is our focus. But as we go through, you will understand that the intricacies of working a car has some similarities to that of our health. We take so much care for our cars because we need it to work very, very well. But how much do we know about our bodies? And how much do we know about what we put into our bodies to make it flow more appropriately? Tonight, we will have a dialogue with our friend, Dr. Rick. And after the dialogue, we'll have some time for questions and answers. After that, we'll have our closing video, and then followed by a time that we just want to dialogue and hear from you, your experiences with health. And in particular, we want to share with some of you what we deem as benefits or the benefits of having a well-balanced life. And in this case, a well-balanced diet, nutrition. And so this is where I want to start off with this evening. If you were to take the spaceship and go to another planet, let's say, do you understand that there are other gases that are there on these planets? Right? And so we're living here on Earth, and Earth is perfect. Our oxygen level mixed with the nitrogen, it's in harmony. It's well balanced. But if you go to Pluto, if you go to Saturn, if you go to some other planets, you will see that one has more nitrogen, one has more hydrogen, and it's inhabitable because it's not in balance. And so we want to talk about that this evening with you. so that you know when you leave this evening, you know how to balance your health. So, food combination is where we're going to start off with. And I don't know about you, but I have had um, a learning experience when it comes to balancing food. Um, Dr. Rick, I don't know about you, but I seem to see a, a pattern in the scriptures, right? And that pattern being something about sevens. Does God make coincidences? There are 7 days in a week, right? There are seven candles. There are seven plagues and a host of other sevens. I don't think God makes mistakes. And so, this one passage I want to present to you, Dr. Rick, this evening as we begin is some things are permissible, but not everything is profitable. Can we eat whatever we want?
Oh, wow. Unfortunately, we can. And that's the problem, right? Um, God does not force our hands when it comes to our diet and anything else in our lives. So, this whole program is about how we choose to be healthy. And when it comes to food, for most people, that is very, very confusing, right? Um, if you drive on the highway, before they give you a license, they at least make sure you have a knowledge of the law,
That's
right?
right.
They're not going to let you drive unless you pass the test. So if we ask most people, what are the laws of our body? What things control our body? So I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to just look at first some of the dynamics of of our bodies. And if I can get this to cooperate, uh, let's see. Okay, um, hopefully
So I see here you have the sevens. So there is significance to seven, huh?
there is, and I'm trying to get this to oh, there we go. Okay, um, so we're talking about the dynamics. It's almost like driving, like you said. Cars have to obey the rules. And so there are seven dynamics, seven things that our body is trying to do. And we're not going to go into every one of them, but this whole idea of balance, if you think about it, balance blood pressure, balance your cholesterol, balance your blood sugar, right? If you're falling, you lose your what? Balance.
Balance.
So this is an integral part of where we how we think of living. And so this idea of balancing our food is probably more foreign to most people, but it is critical, and I would say more important than even just saying, oh, oranges have plenty of vitamin C. If you don't realize how to balance your vitamin C or how your body wants it to be balanced, that vitamin C in the orange will not even do your body any good.
Hmm.
So this is why oftentimes we're sick. So this idea of balance, that is critical to all parts of our lives.
That makes me think of, again, using the car analogy. I can have air in my tire, right? But if I have too much air in my tire, okay, and then I go over a pothole, that can do damage. Similarly, the balance of the mixture of gas in my gas tank. I can't put Sprite and gasoline in it. I can't put tomato juice or carrot juice and gasoline in it. And then even for some vehicles, there is 87, 89, and 91 weight. So when I asked the question, some things are permissible, but not everything is profitable. You just said that we can have vitamin C, but we can have either too much or in proportionate amounts. So tonight, let's talk about the combination of foods, right? Um, I know that there is something about pH, pH that helps to balance, and we need to get more information about that. Can you help us?
Sure. So, as you said, our whole thing is about food combinations. And what people really don't often know is that how you combine foods is really just as important as what you're eating.
Mm,
Okay. And so that is a critical point because food has an effect on our body. That is usually what causes, in a lot of cases, the quote unquote diseases we see when we don't properly balance the food mixture. Of course, there's infection and other things, but even eating the wrong foods set you up for infection. Or you can use food combinations to fight or stave off infection. So the first leg of that, as you mentioned, is pH, acid foods and alkaline foods. And if you were to look in a physiology book, boy, acid base balance is so complex that it just would blow your mind. So, what we did is simplify this by showing what types of foods are acid, which means they're falling more towards 7 and higher, or I mean, 7 and lower. Below 7 is acid, above 7 is alkaline. Okay. And so that's important because now you realize you should begin to realize certain foods create certain effects in our bodies.
If
And
I
I'll
if I
give
might
you an
interrupt just a quick second, is there a way for you to make the screen a little bit bigger um, in the presentation mode? It's
let me see. Ooh. Um, I will try to do that. I'm not sure
are
that
you
I
on a
can.
are you on a PC, Dr. Rick?
Yes.
Could you hold down the Shift key and then hit the F5 key on your keyboard? Hold down the
Um,
Shift on your keyboard and hit F5.
okay. Shift F5.
Yes.
Um, it's not giving
Not doing
me.
it? Okay. Well, continue
Yeah.
on then. Sorry about that. Yeah, you went back to slide one.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
see.
you need to hold down the Shift key to do that.
Yeah. It's really.
This is
I had
better now.
I had to switch computers, so it just.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. Things didn't go well today
Yeah,
with
well,
that.
we can see
as
it better now though. It's in the center.
Yeah. I just lighten it up so that
Okay,
you can see it better.
good.
That
Thank you.
helps.
as
Um,
as you're continuing to explain, Dr. Rick, I'm interested to find out for those viewers that are here maybe for the first or second time that may not understand, what does having a high acidic body do? Are you going to explain that or
sure.
um,
Sure.
okay?
Sure. So let's put it in practical terms, okay? Uh, when you have arthritis, let's say, or your knees or joints are hurting, a lot of times it is because your body has too much acid in it, too much
Okay.
uric acid, okay? So that is chiefly tied to how your body digests or fails to digest proteins and then correspondingly, how that has an effect on your kidneys. So your
Mm.
kidneys are responsible for getting rid of strong acids. So if I ate, just look at our food chart
Yeah.
and look towards the acids. Now, anything, the scale, the pH spectrum goes, I don't know why this keeps moving here. The pH spectrum goes all the way to 0 and all the way up to 14.
Okay.
But if you were to eat something that was below 3 or 2, you'd be
Mm.
burning a hole literally in yourself. Okay.
Mm.
So when you're drinking, let's say pop, that is getting pretty close, is dancing dangerously close to burning the tissue in your body.
Wow.
So it not only acidifies your body, your blood, but your body has to put out that fire by taking calcium from the bones and put out that fire. So
Mm.
when you take the calcium from the bones, what happens? The bones get weaker. You see?
Ah.
So that's the tie between food and disease. So if I begin to understand that fruits, if you look at the chart,
They're all
there
the
are
way to
fruits
9 and
and
10. Yeah.
vegetables are at the other end of the spectrum, and they naturally do not cause a fire in your body. In fact, they tend to clean impurities out of your body, or allow the body to do it more easily because just the nature of that food. Okay. So that's a short explanation. And if you have questions and you're listening, feel free. We'll have questions. But the ideal way for you to balance this, and this is kind of a shortcut, is you want to have about 20% of your diet be from acidic, more acidic foods, and about 80% coming from more alkaline foods. So if you look at this, and it's surprising to a lot of people, something like coconut is a very is a pretty acidic food. Okay, things like popcorn, things like honey, those are strongly acidic foods. Okay, so by the time you get to pop and alcohol and tea, coffee, those things are strong acid foods. Okay. So coffee literally leaches calcium out of your system.
Mm.
Okay. So when you think about somebody saying, "Oh, my back is hurting, my joints are hurting, my knees are hurting," one thing they could probably do is look at their diet and see how much protein and how much acid foods you're eating. So um, that really is an important relationship where we start at the foundation. If you get that and you understand that perspective, I want to show you, and I'm going to go out of my order anyway, just and I'll come back. Uh, but I want to show you something. This can go along with that. If you're deciding that you say, well, I don't understand totally this acid base balance, between, acid foods and all that, just look at this combination. So on your left, you have a more ideal vegetarian diet. Look at the green part. If your plate looks like that, then you can be sure you're getting mostly alkaline. If your plate looks like the middle standard American diet, you're killing yourself. If your plate looks like the standard vegetarian diet, you're dying slowly. So I think we got to come back to that. But I just wanted to show you how we apply this acidic foods and alkaline foods in a practical way. Does that make
And
sense?
yes, and that's the word that I want to springboard from. One of these days, I'd love to have our group do one of these Tuesday evening presentations at a grocery store. We'll be
Right.
sitting at a grocery store and we'll be just reaching for the broccoli, or reaching for the spinach, or reaching for the meats, to give an example. Because I believe our listeners have this question: what can I do practically to understand and or to make a change? What are the things to look for?
Well, I think first of all, you got to acknowledge that it is, we do have to do some study. A lot of times we like to go with grandma's recipes, or, we want to go with what society says is good. Wendy says eat late, eat great, even late. Is that really the advice we should follow? So I know this acidic foods and alkaline foods are that may be new information, and that's why I'm letting it stay up so long. But you do have to begin to learn. So the next step in that lesson is learning how food works. And there are three types of foods, okay? Just like there's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, there are three types of foods. You think that's accidental? Ah. And four is the number of man. So if you add three plus four, you get what? Seven. That's God's cooperation, but that's a whole nother subject. So we have here the types of food, and I kind of conveniently put them together and let you see what the what the benefits of that food is, and what the excess of that food will cause in your body. So I want to make this connection between food and following those laws and disease. When you do that, if you master understanding that, not all, but many of the health problems that we suffer will just go away. Okay. And that's a simplified statement. Okay. So the three types of food you see it blue at the top: sugars or carbohydrates. And that carbohydrates have gotten a dirty name these days. But the Bible diet was a carbohydrate diet. The Bible diet was not a protein heavy diet, not a fat heavy diet, a ketogenic diet. It was a carbohydrate diet, and that is still standing today.
Dr. Rick, where did you get that from? You sound so
Genesis,
convicted of saying that.
just Genesis 1:29, before sin, and then even after sin in Genesis 3, God still said, eat vegetables, which are
Mm.
carbohydrates. The bad carbohydrates is after man gets a hold of it. Donuts, you know, cookies, cakes. You can make a healthy cake, but just don't eat too much of it, even if it's a healthy cake, right?
Permissible, but not
Careful now.
profitable.
Right, right. So let's look at this. Sugars are carbohydrate, okay? Unbeknownst to most people, your brain only uses sugar to operate. You can't substitute that for anything else. If you only ate protein, your body would take that protein and make sugar, glucose out of it because the brain won't accept anything else.
Hmm.
Your organ tissues, the kidney, will not accept anything. Your muscles will not accept anything else. Your
Muscles
muscles
too?
are structured by proteins, but it runs on carbohydrate, sugar, glucose that
Mhm.
comes from the liver in the form of glycogen. So, okay, that's enough on that. So, sugar is energy. Think of it that way. Sugar energizes, of course, it's sweet. You feel better when you have something sweet, don't you?
Oh yeah.
It makes you smile when you have something sweet. It's because that is the fuel that your body is saying, yes, this is it, right?
Mm. Mm.
Sugar. That is a simplified word for carbohydrates. Okay. Proteins are the structure of your body. Proteins do not give energy. That is a myth. If you get energy from protein, it is because the body takes the protein and changes it into carbohydrate.
I got it.
You see it? So that is a tricky question because people say, "Oh, you can get energy from fat or protein." The body can take fat and make energy, glucose out of it, but what happens? You have more waste for the body to get rid of, and it
Mm.
causes a problem. You see? So protein builds the structure. Okay. There are three types of sugars. I should have said this. And a fourth type, which really isn't a sugar in the technical sense, but I guess technically it is. Monosaccharides, disaccharides, polysaccharides, and oligosaccharides, which are the oligosaccharides and polysaccharides serve as food for the bacteria in your body, and they're very healing. Okay, there's a lot we could say about that. Protein, there's basically two types of proteins. There's complete proteins, which means in technical terms, there are 9 amino acids that are clarified out of the 22 that are essential. So a complete protein has all of the 9 essential amino acids. Okay. Incomplete proteins are don't have all that. They have some maybe, but not all. So which is better, complete or incomplete?
I'd imagine complete.
Okay. Most of what God recommends we eat are incomplete proteins.
Okay.
Huh. See, that sounds bad because
Yeah.
that's man's name for it. God didn't call it that.
Mm.
Man put his lens on it and says, I think that's what I'll call it. No. It Here's why the incomplete protein is better. The amino acids are building blocks for repairing your body and protein. And so your body wants to be able to take the individual blocks and build what it wants to.
Mm-hmm.
When you eat flesh foods, cheeses, animal foods, which are complete proteins, why? Because they ate some plants at some place. That's the only way. So plants are the only source of sugar, the only source of protein, primary source,
Mm.
and the only primary source of fats.
I'm sorry. You said plants are a source of what?
Are the
Fats?
only primary source of sugar, carbohydrates, the only primary source of protein, the only primary source of fats.
I got the first two, but you have me on the last one.
Yeah, I think that people should that I stop because that gets people. What do you mean? Protein, you get protein from cheese or it's
Steak.
secondary. It's because some animal ate some plants and knitted it together.
Right.
And so for you to use it, you have to break it apart. And I use this example, and then we'll go on. Um, I said, Dr. Danny, I've got $1 million for you. You would be excited, right?
Absolutely.
I said, but I have to give it to you in quarters. Is that okay?
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I got to give it to you in quarters. Would you take it?
I'm not so keen on that.
But you would take it.
Yes.
But now when you come to get it, they're all fused and melted together.
So I have to break it apart.
You have to break it apart. You can't even use it, most of it, because it's melted together. That is complete protein.
Great
That's why
illustration.
people say you need a lot of protein. It's because most of the protein you get from animal sources is unusable.
Mm.
Okay. I feel like I'm going too deep here, but and then fats.
Yeah.
So protein builds structure, carbohydrates or sugars, they give energy. Fats are enablers, right?
Okay.
Fats are like they mix together sugars and fats and you come up with insulin. Insulin is a hormone made from, so you have adrenaline is a hormone made from fats. Okay.
Hmm.
Fats, your nerves would not work without fat. Your brain, solid matter of your brain, 85% fat. Okay. So if somebody calls you a fathead, thank them, right?
Oh,
Because that's the truth. So we have to understand that when we're eating to supply raw materials to our body through the bloodstream. So if you do not chew it up well, if you do not eat the right things, if you eat things the body doesn't recognize as food, your disease comes out of it.
mm,
And if you do not combine them well, disease comes out of it.
mm.
So it's amazing um, that we're all alive.
Hmm.
So do we want to go on to the next?
Well, I wanted to find out. I wanted to ask maybe some of the other uh, panel members. Have you considered? I'm not sure if Dale is there. Food combinations. How have you viewed food combinations in the past, and what's your new perspective before we get to the timing, right, and the balance even there? Has anyone had any thoughts or experiences regarding that?
Yeah, actually, um, yeah, I really enjoy having my heavy meal in the morning. As many people here already know, I have a smoothie in the morning, but it really is a full meal. I mean, it has the nuts, it has seeds, uh, it has there's certain kinds of fruit, and it allows me to really go for easily 6 hours without getting hungry again. And so the complexity of the food in the morning, but yes, to have those nuts and seeds and together with the fruit has been very, very helpful for me.
All right, thank you so much. So we got to talk about timing, right? Now you've taught us and educated us about the proteins, the carbs, and the fat. Um, And again, I always go back to this phrase, permissible and profitable, right? So I'm going to eat a great big salad at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. Is that okay? I'm going to have a nice soup, right, in the middle of the night, before I go to bed, maybe around 10 o'clock. How do we determine what we can eat? Because now we want to try and understand the physiology of the body and how it takes the food and processes the fats, the sugars, and the protein. No,
You wouldn't do it? Why?
I gotta rest.
Okay, there it is. See, rest is why you cannot eat at all hours of the day. The pancreas needs rest, the stomach needs rest, the
Mm.
digestive tract needs rest. Everybody has to rest. And there's a time when they shut down. They say, you know what? I don't know what you're doing, Dr. Danny, at 2 o'clock in the morning, but I am not on duty.
Mm.
And so when we tend to eat late, we force our body to try to do something with it. The pancreas is asleep. The stomach says, what are you doing? And that's why the food just sits there and we get gas.
Mm.
You ever had that feeling? You ate late and you feel like, oh, man, this is killing me. What's going on? I shouldn't have eaten that. Okay. Your body was not on duty, right? So the simplest way to understand is when the sun comes up, you want the most food, you want energy, right? So the heavier meal should be in the morning. And I put proteins, but I also mean volume of food should be heavier in the morning. And then at lunch, you have a moderate protein meal with more some carbohydrates and then moderate amount. And then the later it gets, when the sun starts setting, so to speak, toward the end of the day or before the end of the day, actually, but we'll just use that. You stop eating. You eat very light, mostly carbs, mostly fruits, smoothies, things like that. Go toward the end of the day. Okay, so that by the time, let's say 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, pushing it 6 o'clock perhaps, your body is saying, hey man, I'm getting ready to go off duty. You got any last things I'm going to process? And so you give it that last thing, and then it says, okay, I'm shutting down for the day because the night crew is getting ready to come on. The night crew cleans, the night crew processes, the night crew rebuilds. And so that is why food and timing matters. And I just show you actual pictures of what I tend to eat. These are actual breakfasts that I've had. I take pictures of my food over the years. And so that's how I eat breakfast. On the one, you have an African Kenyan um, bread um, that they have similar to what they serve in the islands, right? Um, you have some beans, and then you have a big mixed salad with avocado and all sorts of stuff in it. Okay, that's my breakfast. That's how I eat for breakfast. On the middle one, I can't see all the stuff, but uh, just different things. On the last one, you got sweet potatoes. I have I think there was some spaghetti and chili or something, vegetarian, and that's my breakfast. Okay. Any thoughts or questions about that?
Well, what I'm discovering, and I really appreciate the illustrations you give to us. What I'm discovering, friends, is that if we overtax parts of our bodies, the organs in our bodies, they will get tired. And at some point, they may start to shut down. And as they begin to shut down, then in comes disease, right? Because the pancreas is not working properly, the kidneys are not working properly, um, and just like as I mentioned, a car, when one situation starts to go wrong, it can have a deleterious effect on other parts of the car. Now, I don't know clearly how that affects if the pancreas goes. What else does it affect in the body? But I'm pretty certain that it does, right? If we breathe with shallow breaths, then there's not enough oxygen going throughout the body. If we don't have sufficient enough fat in the body, our cells, and as we've heard, the nervous system is not going to work accordingly. And so there seems to be an intricacy because of the law that God has put upon this body. And so we need to remember that.
So I think when it comes to food and disease, and I'm not sure how we're doing on time for this segment, but we have to pay attention to not only what we eat, but how much we eat, because the pancreas is the organ that helps us digest our food. Okay. So if you overwork the pancreas, then you get a failure. You get pancreatitis, you get, you know, appendicitis from the appendix having poisons that back up in there because you're eating at the wrong time and doing the wrong things. Actually, these symptoms that you get that we call disease is your body struggling to bring us back into alignment and failing. So this, what's on your plate, like I said, if you don't understand all the acids and all of that, just look at the the mixture of fruits and vegetables in a day, how much you're eating. A little bit of nuts and seeds, a little bit of beans and legumes and breads and things like that, but mostly cleansing. That's how you get to that 80-20 acidic versus non-acidic foods. Okay. So that's kind of a critical way, just a fast way of looking at that.
That's wonderful. Time is evading us, but um, tonight is the closure of I think many people's desire to change their lives, Doctor Rick. So here's the thing: we've had supper. It's 6, 7, wherever you are on the planet. Our next meal is going to be breakfast for most of us, right? So now we want to have you take us on a journey. What's for breakfast tomorrow morning? If we
Okay.
can try and make this change and try to understand what's going on, where do we go from here?
Well, okay. So I put these things up just to show kind of two spectrums. Um, on one side, on the left side, that's how I tend to eat breakfast. I tend to eat heavy foods, a fair amount of it, and things that will be very filling, as Brother Dale said. Uh, you eat like that, you're not going to be hungry. You're not going to want to snack. You're not going to want to do anything. Even just the types of food will keep you from getting hungry. Okay.
Do you have the recipe of what all that is?
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Um,
okay, okay. We'll write
yeah,
it down
I
and put it in
mean,
the chat maybe later.
yeah, actually, this one, I was in Seattle, I think, when I had the, and the person that fixed it, they would fix Indian types of foods and Mexican types of foods, and they would just, but it would all be vegan, low processing. It was amazing.
and
I just,
and it's colorful. I think
oh
there's
my
something to
goodness.
say
And,
about
and
that.
my wife loves to do things that are colorful. You saw the one I showed.
Yes.
Oh, that soup and salad. I, food should first be sensational,
Mm,
okay? Which means it should appeal to the senses. It should smell good. It should taste good. It should look good.
amen. Amen.
Nobody wants ugly food,
Okay. Now,
right?
what's on the right side?
What's on the right side? I went for a traditional serving for breakfast. Okay, I made uh, kind of an omelet out of what just egg, which is a tapioca based, which is from cassava, which you probably know that. Um, the tapioca. So we're using cassava, which is a not
Root.
a high acid food, like let's say egg would be, but this tastes so much like an egg. I put in some bits of tomato and bits of cucumber and stuff like that to make sort of an omelet. So you could have sort of a traditional type of breakfast, and then you could add to that um, other fixings. You could have a cereal that's a protein cereal. You could have a protein type of smoothie with that and have a more traditionally set breakfast.
Mm.
Okay. So one is kind of non traditional in terms of in the South, excuse me, they ate farmers used to eat like that. Okay. In America, your grandparents, great grandparents, they ate like that on the farm. Okay. As we came to the cities, that's when we start changing what and how we eat,
Mm.
and eating late dinners and things like that. So, um, I do make certain things that are um, more traditional breakfasts, oatmeals and things like that. And, you know, you can
Okay.
eat more traditional breakfast and yet still eat a hearty breakfast.
Thank you. Thank you. We're coming up on our video break. But before we do that, I wanted to invite Brother Dale, if he had um, any pictures or ideas of what could be some healthy foods and combinations. And if you would, Dr. Rick, maybe you can comment on a few of them.
Sure.
Brother Dale, would you be ready to do that?
You see?
There we go.
Okay,
Okay.
let me stop
Okay,
sharing.
can you see this picture?
I see some cucumbers, I think.
Yeah, cucumbers, sweet potatoes sprinkled over there with riced cauliflower. And that was my lunch one day sitting in my car um, at a customer's office. And so that was just about 11:30 in the morning. Um, so that's a very powerful lunch. It didn't make me sleepy right after because of the high vegetable content, and the sweet potatoes are very filling and provide a good source of energy as well. Dr. Rick, how does this stand up to food combination?
I think, a good rule of thumb
Yes.
is that you want no more than two, three, at the pushing the limits, four categories of food. So you have mostly fruit vegetables here.
Yes.
You have um what did you say this was the rice this
Cucumber, sweet
This
potato, and rice cauliflower.
cauliflower. So all you basically had basically one type of food basically,
Mhm.
right? You stuck it's a simple so your body will be able to take that and eat that food in one. It won't have to interrupt itself.
Mm.
So let's say if I had watermelon and I had some tofu eggs, okay,
Mm.
and I ate some of the watermelon, your body would stop eating, digesting, your stomach would stop digesting the watermelon and wait for all the tofu eggs um, to be digested before it really finishes the the watermelon.
Hmm.
So
So
what does the
the
body do with the
hardest
watermelon?
things, the hardest things to digest go first. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. And so the water content in it, that if you ate it with other foods, it's almost automatically an interruption.
Just gonna sit there, huh?
It's just
Mm.
going to sit there and rot fast.
Okay. But Michael, what's the other one?
Yeah, so there's another one. This is cabbage, uh, white beans, and sweet potato.
Okay,
Dr. Rick?
so you have corn and beans,
Yeah,
which is a complete,
these are white beans.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
and beans. So you have a complete protein.
Mhm.
Okay, the potato has a good protein content, but it's also has starches. So again, let's see, you have maybe two or three types of foods, right?
Mhm.
So again, there's a good volume of food. And I've had clients who were just avid meat eaters. And I said, okay, I need you to eat like this. Oh, I'm going to starve.
I'm gonna be hungry.
They, they, they came back with glowing. Can I continue to eat like this? I said, of course you can, right? This is more filling than you think it would be,
Mm.
right? But when you eat donuts, yes, an hour later you will be hungry because your body doesn't know what to do with that.
All
So
right.
it just says, "Oh, let's get rid of that," you know. So
Okay, maybe two more. Maybe two more, and then because
Yeah, I think I got one more here.
okay.
So this is avocado, mushrooms, tomatoes, sweet potato sprinkled with hemp seeds.
okay, okay. So you've got protein sources and amino acid rich things. Tomatoes are acidic foods, so they can go with proteins and they can be helpful. The mushrooms uh, are by most people considered a vegetable, and so again, you had a good volume of food and very low maintenance on the body. Okay. Probably if you had, I don't know, uh, probably 600 or 700 calories. If you had a plate, if all that whole plate was covered with broccoli, you'd probably have 100 calories or 150
Mm.
calories.
Mm.
So plants are naturally low in calories, naturally more low in fats and proteins and high energy foods. But as you sprinkle on the seeds, you're getting more satisfaction out of that protein, more calories, and it's just a good mixture that you have. Nothing's going to interrupt your digestion of that food.
Okay.
So that's great.
Thank you,
Cool.
Brother Dale,
Thank
for
you.
that show and tell right there. And thank you, Dr. Rick, for that explanation. We're going to go ahead now and take our video break. And when we come back, I have a feeling that some of you have some questions for our panel. And so stick around after our break.
Feel free to put questions in the chat. That would be one good them, and we'll also let you voice them as well. To put them
We're thrilled that you're attending this edition of your Natural Health Meetup. In between our monthly sessions, you can stay connected with us in as many as 3 easy ways. Our Facebook group has our live as well as archived videos along with other natural health updates and a place to post your questions. Our Natural Health Learn and Share Meetup site has announcements, reminders, and messages for you, and also our confidential requests for prayer page. We love to pray for you and any concerns of life that you may have. Use the link on the screen to stay connected for any one of these or all 3.
Right, friends, as you proceed with a mental shifting of your diet, of your health, of how the body uses what God has given to us to provide proper health, um, we open up the time now for you to ask questions. I'm going to be looking in the chat also to see if anyone posts questions there, but the time is yours.